Hi, and welcome back to the Two Pondering Pagans. I'm Salon, one half of the Two Pondering Pagans. Today I'm doing another quick tarot. It's been a few weeks, so I'm really excited. Let's get started. Today I'm using the Lion Strider Tarot. This is one of the mini tarots. I actually will probably go out and buy the full-size deck because I only have the mini and it never really showed up on my radar before until I pulled this out and started really enjoying working with it. So did some meditation prior to, as I normally do. We'll talk about this from a teaching perspective, just kind of sharing how I read through the tarot and oracle at times. And then also, just as a disclaimer, it's really important that you do your way, right? I do understand the traditional meanings, but I use a lot of intuition and connection with, what's going on around me or my connection to the universe through meditation. So if some of the meanings don't match up to exactly what you may have read, or if you're just starting out, remember, you can use that information, but work with the cards and learn them, and they will give you some great information. So we are doing a general status style reading today for the week. So what kind of energies are going on around us, and what can we do for the next week, or what themes should we pay attention to over the next week to kind of help guide us through what's going on. This particular type of reading I do is one major arcana card followed by two minors, and maybe if we need more, we'll pull more. So I'm going to give it just a few more shuffles of the major arcana, and then a few more shuffles of the minor. I shuffled them very well earlier this morning. Always good to give a good shuffle, and if you're shuffling for a tarot read, shuffle as much as you feel like you need, right? There's no right or wrong way to shuffle. Just work through the cards and get them in the way that you feel comfortable, and then you're ready to go. So we are going to go ahead and start. Our first card is the moon. Very interesting full moon this weekend. Second card, Page of Wands. Third card, Page of Swords. All right, so let's talk a little bit just about the cards themselves. With the moon, this is a very different image of the moon when it comes to tarot. So, but some also similar, right? So you see the blue wolf, there's a dog, and then either lobster or crayfish. You see the two pillars that you walk through in the moon in the distance. There's also, it's hard to see, but there's some feathering coming down off the moon. One of the things with the moon card for me is kind of a mix of traditional and intuitive reading. It generally signifies our need to open our eyes to something that might be hidden, or to pay attention to the small contrast between things. When you think of the night, you can't see. Some of your senses are not available, right? Well, the moon creates a cast of light, or, reflects technically a cast of light that illuminates those things. So let's look at the hidden things. Let's pay attention to those things we may have otherwise not paid attention to. And I think that is going to be the general theme of this next week. Now, running also into a full moon this weekend, it's very similar energy. This is the highest energy. This is when the balance of building and declining energy have come up to the peak of the mountain. And we're really going to focus on that whole energy confluence and use this for your biggest, your best, your most powerful magic. I generally do mostly magic that is considered gainful or explosive or high positivity energy, spells and spell work, things like that during a full moon. But you can kind of adjust it as you want. But again, full moon this weekend, today I think is the 21st, so might be the 22nd. I don't know. I'll figure it out some point. Either way, the moon is telling you to pay attention to the hidden pieces, to the things behind. Now we're going to build on that because we have two pages, which is very rare in a 3-card draw for me. So in general, pages are part of the court. So in your court, you have people. So for me, your 1 through 10 cards are your pips, or your ace through 10. And then your page, knight, queen, king are your people involvement. So in this particular case, we have two. We have the Page of Wands and Page of Swords, but we're going to talk about the Page of Wands by itself first. The Page of Wands, as a Wands card, which is generally referred to as fire, again, not always, really talks to things that we work with, that we have career about, or we have passion about, or we're creative with, and we want to develop those things. So when the Page of Wands shows up, she says either somebody near you or somebody in your life is going to be coming in and working through some of these passions and creativities, or it can refer to the individual that the reading is for, or that's hearing this, that it resonates with. In this case, you may want to think of the page as a beginner in this process, though. Almost like the Fool in the Major Arcana, but somebody who's bursting with this new energy. They're full go forth, let's do this, but it may not have the connotations of being wise like the Queen would, or very organized and directed like the King would. So those are the two things that I would really focus on when I'm looking at a page. Then we're going to go next to the Page of Swords. So a lot of those things still apply, right? We're still talking about somebody with that new energy, that bursting forth, super excited, really getting started into something. Maybe the student as a sophomore that's really pushing through to try to get through to the next level. But the Swords is focusing more on the tangible and the knowledge and the decision-making processes that need to be made. So, this is a card of messaging. A Page of Swords is somebody that moves fast, can get information across, and can communicate very well and work those processes. So then we kind of have to tie it all together, right? So to tie it together, let's go back to the fact that we have the Moon, which is a card of hidden meanings and hidden secrets and figuring out those things that are not always as easy to see. And then we have two pages. So could this be you listening? Could this be somebody in your life that's coming in to bring this energy to you? And let's put the Page of Wands and Page of Swords together. So think of this as something that's passionate and creative that you're looking for, or maybe is missing. And perhaps you're needing to make a decision about it and you're a little stuck. A good example would be I'm trying to go out and find different ways to connect to nature. I'm very passionate about it. I did lose some connection over time. We cycle, and to get back into that, I need to make decisions. One of those decisions is to stop random places without thinking about it, and get out, touch the ground, see the area, because I travel a lot. The Page of Wands is telling me that this new creative energy is really going to be apparent this week. So I'm going to pay a lot more attention to those things that I may not normally. For instance, when I'm driving and droning on for a 2 or 3 hour drive in another state, I may need to start looking at the things that are outside of those car windows, pulling over, trying to eat in a different place, trying to pay attention to people that I may not spend a lot of time with. And then on the page side, I'm going to try to infuse myself with that energy that allows me to, notice those things and be really passionate about them, and not try to hide that like the Moon may have helped hide at some point and now is illuminating. So if I want to summarize this whole thing together, the whole reading, it would be pay attention over the next week, and it may extend longer, but pay attention to the small things. Look for the things that are hidden. Don't allow them to remain hidden. And then either pay attention to those that are around you that are going to bring in this energy of excitement and decision-making and knowledge and great thinking and or messaging and communication, and bring that energy in. Look for those people around you. And then also looking at the Page of Wands, be creative, be passionate, be forthright with those things. So in summary, when you're looking at the Moon, the Page of Wands, and the Page of Swords, when you're reading, you want to look at them individually. You want to look at any patterns, for example, the two pages. You want to look at what is the system that you're seeing the most of between the cards and those kinds of things. So it's really important when you look through the process of reading that you're kind of paying attention to those different things. So How do I interpret all of these together? The Moon is talking about paying attention to the small details. The Page of Wands changes that a little bit. Still the small details, but the details of your passions, of the things that you're fiery about, and the things that you really want to work on, that maybe you don't even recognize you enjoy yet. So paying attention to the small things and finding those small contrasts will help you engage that energy of the page, of the excitement about something that your creative brain is working about, and the creative energies in the universe. And then you further adjust that with the Page of Swords. That means before you do it, make sure you think about it, and have some knowledge about it, or look to study it deeply before you do, or while you do. So if somebody were to get this reading as a direct person, I'm going to tell them this next week, I need you to really look at what's in your home, what's in your car, what's at work. What things do you notice that you may not have noticed there before? Is your car really messy and you need to get it clean? Well, that's a Page of Swords thing. Perhaps having that clean car will really help you, travel a lot. I have to have a clean car because having a messy car when I travel kind of makes me feel cluttered. And the same deal for the Page of Wands. It's going to really talk about those little things that I'm creative about. I really do like making things, but sometimes I'm just like, I'm too tired. I really just don't feel like it. Well, I've always, once I get up to actually do it, I really enjoy, and I'm really glad that I do. Like making the bread. I really didn't want to, but I'm like, oh, okay, I'll get up, I'll do it. Started doing it, had a blast. Going out to our land, I really don't want to drive an hour and a half, but when I do, I'm really glad that I did. So I'm paying attention to those things and how I feel and how those things make me feel when I'm doing them, and being honest about them. So that's the reading for the week. Looking for those energies of the things that you normally wouldn't look at and miss, and letting them help build your creativity and your passion and your next step decision making. So I hope you enjoyed. Sorry about some of the noise in the background. We have some very active puppies running around, and hope to see you again soon. Thank you.